Hey, my mic was off. That's why people signed out. Okay. I'm so flustered. I'm so flippin' flustered. And that was evidence why. Here's why. Years ago, my wife and I went to a dinner party, and our two friends, Matt and Joey, they they always had dinner parties, and my wife and I were like, this beautiful home they lived in. They lived in this beautiful house. And so we said, hey, isn't this something that we'd like one day? A house like this. And no joke, I'm playing Yakuza 4 about 2 hours before this stream, and my wife hits me up with a Zillow. And she's like, it's that house. It's not a house like it. It's not a house adjacent. It is the exact house that we were in. The guys whose dinner party we were at, they sold it 2 houses ago. So this has changed hands, and now it's up on the market again. And so you can't see it, but on the other end of the house, my wife is currently scrambling every financial document we weren't prepared for so we can try to buy this dream house that is actually up for sale. We're losing our minds. So that's why I'm so discombobulated. That's why there was probably like a minute of of dead air because I didn't have my camera on, I didn't have my mic on. Freaking out. Okay, so why are we here? We're here to unbox comic books because we don't want to talk about politics. Everybody knows who's they're voting for already. Why are we bothering with the debate? We're just going to yell at each other. So I want to go over an insane collection of comics I've picked up recently. It's insane. I want to go over stuff I've been reading lately. And I want to go over some pickups that I got that are just weird, like kind of on brand Ricky. Let me say hi to everybody. Bleak, how are you? Matt likes comics. He can't hear me. Cretin Bull, there's no sound. Next Gen, your mic is off. So you guys are on it, and I'm terrible with comments. So thanks for catching it. Okay, something I read recently that maybe y'all guys would like. This was a title buy. I bought it with Mike from Lunch Money Comics when we went on our comic crawl, and I finally got around to reading it. This is I Breathed a Body. And this is okay. So here's the deal. All the time, because I'm such a big horror fan, when I meet people who say they like horror, I want to talk horror movies with them. So I'm really into horror. And hey, Gord, how are you? So I love talking horror with people. And all the time I meet some young buck, some kid with an attitude who says, they don't make good horror movies anymore. They don't make good horror anymore. And then I have to spend the next rest of the party alienating myself from everybody else because all I want to do is talk to them about how good horror movies are good. They're still coming out. Every year has amazing horror movies come out. Don't listen to the haters. Horror is still great. But how does that relate? This is how it relates. I Breathe the Body is one of those comic books where people say like, oh, they don't make them like Neil Gaiman anymore. They don't make them like Alan Moore anymore. And I'm here to tell you, this little limited series, these 5 issues, this is some wild stuff. So there's a cell phone company. It's kind of like Google, and they create a network, an internet based off of this kind of ancient eldritch fungi. And so the cell phones that they use in that world have living organic technology in them that come from this fungi. Well, the fungi is kind of not controlled, but facilitated by this old god woman. And this is the story of the guy who gets it in with this woman, and he tries to build a new world, and he tries to control that new world and the people that he harms along the way. He's kind of like a Homelander like figure, except in this alien cell phone world. It's really gross. The art is spectacular. If body horror and gore is not up your alley, you need not apply. But this is a wild book. You absolutely should read it. Here's another series I got. I found this. There's only 12 issues in the series. I've only read issue 1 so far. This is Evangeline, not Evangeline. Evangeline with an A, as in Avenge, that Rob Liefeld book that's getting turned into a movie. But this is Avenge as an evangelist. Here's the deal. This is a science fiction story taking place in the far distant future. where this woman is a Christian evangelist in the future. Like, she travels to different planets and she's evangelizing for Christ. There are priests and the whole deal. But she's, look at this. And the art's really good. It has a sense of humor to it. Here's the thing about this book though. I can't tell yet if it's kind of like a satirical take or if it's an earnest take, because she seems Evangeline, this character who's evangelizing in the stars, she seems earnest, but there's like a priest that gives off, like, who's her boss, that gives off like kind of shadowy vibes. So I don't know if it's like a commentary yet or if it's an earnest. I want to read a book about evangelism in space. Our friend's here. Let's get our friend in on this. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm giving you my lunch break.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Me and panel. Here we go. I think. Yeah, this is fine. You're covering Will Smith's head. That's fine. So I'm just going over some of the books that I bought recently. So I don't know if this is, I don't know if you heard, but this is a Christian evangelist in the future in space.
Really?
And yeah, Evangeline, it's as an evangelist. And I was just telling the audience, I haven't read deep enough yet. I've only read the first issue, but it seems earnest. Like it's giving off the attempt of like, no, like this is what it would look like in the future in space with alien species, time travel and all that. But she's evangelizing for Christ. And,
oh, wow.
and they make heroes out of all the church figures, but it's like Catholic Christ. And it's so interesting. Yeah, like I'm definitely going to keep reading it.
Well, that's cool, man. It sounds like something that would actually interest me.
Yeah, so Evangeline, but not the Rob Liefeld one.
Right.
Of avenge as in like I'm going to avenge my dead father, but evangel as in evangelist. I have no idea what this is. It was $4. I found it at a flea market. My flea market receipt's still in it. Jake Thrash. I can't tell you any more than here it is, and it's called Jake Thrash. That's it. Jake Thrash. I found these. So I pulled these books aside, this whole pile of books, and the guy was like, "Look, I'm going to keep it real with you. I was going to throw these out. So like, if you give me a $20 bill, just take as much as you want because it's all indie stuff, but I'm into it." Myth Conceptions.
Oh, sweet. That's Robert Aspirin.
Oh, see, I have no idea what this is, but it's issues 1 through 6, Apple Comics, and I couldn't pass it up. It looks comedy.
It is. It's comedy mixed with fantasy, and there's this author named Robert Aspirin who does novels, and I'm sure this is a comic version of the novel Myth Conceptions. So he's got
folks. That was look at that, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
See, folks, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You buy these indie books, and if you're a member of the community, you literally just show them to people, and they'll teach you all about them.
Yeah, I actually love Robert Aspirin. He does a lot of puns in how his titling of his books and stuff like that. Well, I mean, he's passed since, but he's
okay.
But he had a whole series of ones about a space captain, and that was pretty awesome too.
Yeah, they're cool. And then they have one issue of this, which is what like made me realize like I have to buy this. Like this collection from this guy. Star Trek and the Legion of Superheroes #1. That's literally tailor made for me. And it's the old crew. It's just too good.
That does look perfectly tailored for you. It's almost like IDW and DC were like, hey,
yeah,
Ricky we're gonna want to buy this.
We're gonna make a book called Judge Dredd and Blowjobs. This guy's gonna love it. And then this is a weird one. This is a deep cut. My sister-in-law, my wife's brother's wife, her name's Sally, and she is full-blooded German, speaks German. Her whole family speaks German. She has a sister that lives in Germany. They're always chatting in German. And so I'm really big into like any myth from any other culture, any story that's important to another culture. I want to experience it myself. And so she's like, this is the book for German culture. It's not very long, but it's called the Nibelungenlied. and it's the ring of the Nibelung, and it is this like just kind of just like all the German big stories get archetyped off of everything that appears in this. And so I found this. It's 4 volumes of kind of thick bound books, and it's the ring of the Nibelung, and it is volumes 1 through 4, and it was produced by DC.
Nice.
And like, look at that.
Holy
look
cow.
At that. Look at that German. But yeah, it was in that pile, the whole set. I see this. I also love that about buying indie. You get these really strange, and like there's like a rainbow bridge in the back of that one. Maybe Thor makes an appearance. I don't know. I don't remember the book being like this when I read it, quite frankly. And then I did want to share this before we get into the main topic. This was sent to me by Mike from Lunch Money Comics. Mike from Lunch Money Comics, dear that he is. He's out shopping and he finds this store with ridiculous prices. And he's helping the guy price books on his own time. And so this guy who he literally just walked in the store with a camera, and the guy's like trusting him to price books in his store. And Mike sends me a picture of a book, and he's like, I know you're a Superman fan. This is probably something that you want, right? Are you looking for it? And he said, the guy said I can pretty much name my own price. At that moment, I was con saving, and I had just made a big purchase because me and a group of friends were all going to Terrificon next month. And I get a box in the mail unannounced, and I open it up, and Mike had purchased the book for me. And this is not a tiny book. This is Action Comics 241. This is the first appearance of the Fortress of Solitude, Superman's house.
Nice. That's cool.
And so if you don't know, if you're not a Superman fan, Superman builds this enormous key. It is that big, and it is infinitely heavy. And the reason he made it is so that he could say, no one could get in but me. Clearly, I'm so strong. Who could possibly get in my house because no one could lift this? And hey, Nate, how are you?
Hey, Nate.
First Fortress.
Yeah, buddy. Sent for free by Mike from Lunch Money Comics.
Oh my God.
I'm saying, what an angel of a man.
No shit.
That's not why we're gathered here today. We're gathered here today because I went off. I got my number one AOK, most famous, happy, special book in the world to me, next to Crypto the Superdog. This completes a trilogy of books that makes my Superman collection damn near perfect. And so I've been fawning over this for days. I can't stop looking at it. And then you'll see why the rest of the pile is themed a particular way. But here it is.
Awesome.
Nate knows. Nate's into this shit.
I am into that.
First Legion, right?
First, so they don't even call themselves a Legion, but it's a Cosmic Boy, Lightning Lad, who immediately becomes Lightning Boy after this. They immediately rename him. And then Saturn Girl. He is a prototype for Magneto, Cosmic Boy. He has metal powers, can affect metal. Lightning Lad. He's Lightning Lad, and he can control lightning, as his name would imply, but he does have weather powers. Like, he can use that electricity in the atmosphere to affect change. So he can make it rain and stuff. And then Saturn Girl is effectively a telepath on par with Professor X. Why do I keep comparing them to X-Men? Because they had I can't remember his name for the life of me. The guy, you'll help me, Travis. The guy who wrote Giant Size X-Men 1.
Christopher Claremont.
Who was the other guy that worked for them? God damn it, that's not the name.
That's not the name?
There was a dude that worked for DC, and he wrote for the Legion, and then he quit and he got hired and he moved over to Marvel, and he started affecting, like, okay, immediately that's when they're like Giant Size X-Men. And apparently Nightcrawler was supposed to be a Legionnaire, but it was just a design that he carried over.
Well, I'll look it up.
So yeah, please. Yeah, because I looked up, I was like, why are these? The Shi'ar Empire is effectively all Legionnaires in terms of like what they are, what they look like, what they do. And then there are so many one-for-one comparables to the Legion of Superheroes directly to the X-Men in terms of powers. Like, what's his name?
Oh, Len Wein.
There you go.
Yeah, that was his name.
Okay, so that was the first appearance of the Legion. I also got the second. That's a second. I also got the third. That's the first appearance of Sun Boy, Chameleon Boy. I think Phantom Girl shows up in this one too. Then I got the fourth appearance of the Legion. And then I got this is part of Legionnaires. But then I got the fifth appearance of New Legionnaires. This is the first appearance of Starboy. And then this is the giant size X-Men #1 of Legion of Superheroes. And so again, the X-Men comparisons just keep coming. This is...
Oh, you got it.
I did. This is not the first appearance of the Legion of Superheroes. That other big book was in this lab. This is the first appearance, though, of every character you think of when you think of the Legion of Superheroes. So if you ask a person on the street and you say, hey, person on the street, name an X-Man, more than likely they're going to name an X-Man who joined the team in Giant Size X-Men. They're going to name Nightcrawler, they're going to name Wolverine, they're going to name Storm. One of those three are going to come to their head. This is that equivalent for the Legion. This is the first appearance of Brainiac 5, first appearance of Triplicate Girl, Bouncing Boy, dang it.
Karate Kid?
No, I have that one. We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
You just really went all out, didn't you?
I have every single appearance of the Legion for the first 20 issues. And then I have every appearance of the members of the teams interspersed throughout. So like you can read, if you want to read every Legion appearance in order, I can get you from 1 to 20.
Nice.
But then this is just like the character. So this is the first Legion of Super Villains. It's an early homage. I want to look up I really want someone in chat here. I gotta go back to chat. I'm such a dickhead. You guys are 11 comments and here I am ignoring all of you.
Oh,
I'm sorry, guys.
I forgot there was one.
I know, I'm the worst. Oh, and Lunch Money Comics called it from forever ago, Len Wein. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so I want someone to look this up. So this book, Superman 147, right? This is a direct homage to this one. This is the point I'm making. This is a 10-cent Superman, right? This has to be one of the earliest homages they've done. Like if we're thinking about because homages, if you think about homages now, they're a relatively modern concept. You know what I mean? Like a new artist, like Do You Poo only exists because of homage. But like, is this one of like the first 10 homages ever? I don't know.
Well, I have the one that is the Super Pets homage.
Yes, they homage themselves quite a bit.
So,
this is the origin of Sun Boy. This is Legion of Super Pets. Nate, I know.
I just hold on. Let me hold it up, and we can be brothers.
I'll let you tell the story. That is he paid an unfair price.
So, it's not. I mean, I would have to find all the ones. I got. I got a set of 3 books, and this one, oddly enough, if you open up the inside cover, they'll tell you too. Like this is the first 12-cent book. They apologize on the opening cover, like you paid 2 more cents for this book than you normally are used to, but it's okay. So I got this, and I can't remember if they're 10 centers or if they're also 12 centers. But I got the guy I was asking 40. We went back and forth. I paid $35 for all 3 issues. And this is like what? It can be an $80 book by itself.
And it's in great shape.
And this one's in beautiful condition. I couldn't believe it. Like I was looking at copies that weren't this nice where people were asking $80. And this is the first appearance. I wish they were on the cover, but it's the first appearance of the Legion of Super Pets. Yeah,
and it's the first Comet the Super Horse, like in general.
Yes, it's not his origin. That's the other one that I want. But this is the first Comet, which is awesome. And Lex Luthor as a Bizarro.
So the point is, like, guys, like comic book fans have really good visual memory. So like when I show you these books, it's not just so I can say, look how much of a Legion fan I am, although I am. It's also about like, look at this. People pass up this every single day. They flip past this when they're going through the books every single day. This is a big key, and you can, if you're looking to, be a member of this community and you want to get this and buy this and flip this. Look, I don't think you're a bad person. You know why I think that's a good move? Because if you get this for $1 and you sell it for $100, no one's going to pay $100 that isn't a fan that wants that book. However, if it's $1 and it's sitting there and you leave it there, I think that's actually kind of irresponsible, because if this guy's got $1 book and you see the rest of his table and he only has this one small stack of comics, how long before this guy says screw it and just throws it out? All the time. That's where these books go. So if you recognize any of these books, buy them, get them into the hands of a fan who'll give you a fair price. First, Timberwolf.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is effectively, if you see this one, this is another one. Look how innocuous this looks. Adventure Comics 300. This is effectively Legion. One day when they make a Legion of Superheroes movie and all these books go to the moon, this is the book that people will argue is Legion of Superheroes #1. This is the first comic book where front to back it is all Legion of Superheroes, and they're kind of doing like soft reintroductions, like in sentences, like, oh, hey, sun boy, the boy who can control the sun. There's a lot of that.
Those are my favorite issues too. I really love those 300s with the big covers with the different pieces. Yeah, I have a bunch of the Superman covers like that too.
That is their base, by the way, if you didn't know. They have a missile butt, and it's not like a missile landed in the ground. That's by design. When they show you the origin, that is by design. It's literally just a silo in the ground. Another one, look at this. You'd pass this book up any day of the week. This book would mean nothing to you if you saw it in a $1 bin. This is the origin of Bouncing Boy.
See, I didn't know what that one was, but
sure, you'll see it. Another innocuous one that people skip all the time. You want to tell them, Nate?
Is that one Matter Eater Lad?
It is Semen Guzzling Guy. Yes. Batter Drinker Boy.
See, I'm the kind of person that would just pick that up because it's a 12-cent, one, and two, Superman's getting attacked by birds, and I think that's funny. So, like, I would pick that up on accident.
Birds with kryptonite.
Kryptonite birds.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Cryptocurrency birds.
It's a devious ploy, that's for sure.
They're like, all of them are going to the moon. I sell. He's like, oh, I'm just buying bonds. This is just an appearance. No. See, I'm a dick. I'm already lying to you. This is another one. Everyone would skip over this. This is one of the first deaths in comics. And this is a death of Lightning Lad. And then for several issues, the journey of the team becomes how do we get him back?
Yeah.
I know this is another Legion appearance. Another stupid. Look at that nonsense. When he's punching his what is that? His body pillow. I wanted Ryoko from Kiru to Kiru. Not me. First, Legion of Substitute Heroes. The Legion of Superheroes. Okay. In case you don't know, the Legion of Superheroes. Every new member that joins the team is getting hazed, and they openly admit that. Like the cover of that first appearance is them literally just lying to Superman and being like, no matter how good he does, we're going to tell him he's not in. We're going to tell him he's out. And then they wait until Superboy is, he's literally crying, and they go, we're just playing, you're in. But like they get him to that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia point where they like break D. They get him to that point, and they do that with everybody. They keep lying to you and getting you on the team. And so the Legion of Substitute Heroes is a group of Legionnaires who they tell them to their face, like, look, you're not on the team. But if we need a B squad of meat shields, you're allowed to show up and soak some bullets. Here we go. This is Element Lad, one of the more powerful Legionnaires. He's just like, oh, this chair is made of kryptonite. Lay down, Superboy. This is the first appearance of Lightning Lass. This is Lightning Boy's sister, who becomes a main instigator in getting him back to life. Obviously, she likes her brother. This is also the first appearance of the team pet, Prody. Prody is a little wad of gum that can't speak, but it can turn into any shape it wants. So like if you need it to look like a gun and be like, hey, freeze, you thought I had something. You can do that. If you wanted to turn into like one of those cartoon keys that you can open a cell with, you can do that. And he's kind of important because they find out about a ritual. See how I'm going? I'm telling you the whole story. They find out there's a ritual on Daxam, the cousin planet to Krypton, that if you hold these fleshlights into the sky during this thunderstorm, the thunder will choose a person holding a fleshlight. It will strike it, and then that person will die, but the target will come back to life. So it's kind of this gamble of everybody's got their rod in the air, and you don't know who's going to take the hit and die. And so they're all holding them, and Saturn Girl is Lightning Boy's like main squeeze. Okay, that's like his Jean Grey. They really do. They link them up, and they stay together for the whole series. But so she gets hit by the lightning. And everybody's like, oh no, isn't that tragic? You know, Juliet died for Romeo. And then Prody was in her pocket. And so their pet pulled some comic book bullshit by like, I'm going to go into a cave and rub myself with stones so that I'll absorb the lightning. Like this is going through the head of their wad of gum. And then their wad of gum absorbs the death. And then comic books are that good. First appearance of Dream Girl.
Oh, baby cover.
These are the first appearances. This is the first appearance in cameo of one of their biggest villains, the Time Trapper. And then here is the first full appearance of the Time Trapper. He's got a dumb name, but he's got cool powers. And this is the issue you were talking about.
Well,
so this is the introduction of Prody 2. So Prody is a member of a species, and he shows up, and so this is Prody turning into Superboy to demonstrate, hey guys, aren't I valuable? Shouldn't I be in the Legion of Super Pets? And they spend the whole issue hazing him.
Yeah. They treat him the way the Legionnaires treat everybody that comes in. They treat him like shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a real hive of mistreatment, and it like passes down from generation to generation. They're terrible people. I can't remember. I think this is, I want to say Chameleon Boy. I don't think it is because Prody appears earlier. Give me a second. I
can feel myself wanting to pick up like Legion of Superheroes books now.
It is the best. I mean, it has been the most fun. Reading that era has been hysterical, and it is like a legit addiction. And so I am constantly looking at lots on eBay or Mercari, or looking and seeing who's got, things on whatnot. Because like Ricky said, people don't know what they have. They don't realize that it can go for more money. They just, it's the the benefit of being a DC collector, I guess.
Oh man,
everybody knows the Marvel keys.
Everybody knows the Marvel keys at this point.
Right.
First appearance of Duplicate Boy. Again, like you probably all of you have skipped this cover, being like, oh, it's just a dumb egg-headed boy. No, it's another member of the Legion. We saw that one. Oh, here we go. First appearance of Mon-El.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Love Mon-El.
Yeah. Mon-El is a Daxamite. It is a planet where ancient Kryptonians kind of pilgrimaged over to this other planet, and they evolved a little differently, where they have the powers of a Kryptonian in yellow sunlight. However, instead of kryptonite, their weakness is lead. So in the future, when everything's all futuristic, lead's not a thing. Like everything's made of some sort of microplastic. You know how we eat like 6 credit cards a year? These bitches are eating Thanksgiving dinners made of credit cards. And so he's like OP in his world, but he goes back to the 1960s in our world to hang out with Superboy.
Yeah, where babies are made out of lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the paint in this New England home is just really making me sweat.
Oh, you know what? I have to say there was a really great Richard Donner run of Superman through Action Comics and Superman in the early 2000s that had where Mon-El played a big role, and I loved that storyline. It was really great. So,
yeah, in the 80s and early 90s, he was Valor.
Mm-hmm.
He changed his name up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he went by Valor. First appearance of Timberwolf. This is the character that Wolverine rips off. Yep. And then, this one. I can't remember. Triplicate Girl. So, okay, there's a girl whose power is Triplicate Girl. She can make 3 copies of herself, right? It's not masturbating if it's you. No, I'm saying it's not group sex if it's you. It's just masturbation. I'm pretty firm on that. But one of them dies, and so she becomes Duo Damsel from that point on.
I have the one
power.
where she dies right here.
Computo.
And at the end of this issue, she's blowed up, and then it's the issue you just showed that she changes back into, or that we see that she's not actually dead, but one of her duplicates is dead, which is still kind of tragic for people who come from who are used to having 3 of themselves. That would be like losing a leg and an arm. I don't know.
Yeah, and so later on they do change it so that she can now grow infinite numbers of herself, and so she's more akin to that character in Invincible, where she can make a version and then die, So you never really know who's the real version. They also kind of use that thing from
or to keep tying it back to the X-Men Multiple Man,
Jamie Madrox. I only know that name because he's also a rapper for ICP.
Nice. All right, hey guys, I my lunch break is over, and I'm glad I got to share it with you. And this was awesome. I mean, Ricky, you keep talking about the Legionnaires, and I want you to know that I have just the love of the old Superman and the Legionnaire stuff. I don't buy it because it's never one of those things that I can really get a good run of, and I have to have a run so I can read. I don't like having little bits and pieces. So but it's I love that, and I love that you're promoting it, and it always is cool. So thank you so much for letting me come on. You guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy check out what I'm doing. I'm doing a whole Jack Kirby thing. Enjoy it.
Yep, Travis over Comics Limited. If you haven't subbed up, you're doing yourself a disservice.
So you guys have a great night. I will talk to you later, and I'll jump on the chat here in a little bit once I get back settled at my work desk.
Okay, later, buddy.
Later.
See you, man.
I always kick them off. Anybody. I can't. I remember right before I'm on a hair trigger. They're like, all right, I need that power. This is the one you were talking about earlier. This is that's the first appearance of Karate Kid. That's the first appearance of Princess Projectra, who later on in the 80s and 90s becomes a character called Censor. This is Pharaoh Lad.
Yeah.
And then Nemesis Kid. Pharaoh Lad, you can't see his face. Can't see his skin color. He was going to be revealed to be a black guy. Why that has to be like a dramatic reveal, I can't tell you. But they were going to do it, and they were like, no. Kill him. so
God damn 1960s.
In the history of black people dying first in horror movies, in comic books, they don't even get to be black before they get sent to the chopping block. It's brutal.
I don't like it.
They would rather him be dead than black. That's crazy.
It's so bad. I made a black character. The hell you did.
Oh man.
This is I can't remember his name, but he becomes an antagonist of the Legion. This is his first guy appearance. Here we go. I've got Key Collector. If you literally open up Key Collector and you just scroll down, you'll find all the issues. I have them all. I know that's a key of some sort.
Yeah, you just told me it's the first hag.
First hag, who then becomes White Witch. The next issue, she becomes White Witch. It's another one that people skip over a lot. First, Fatal Five. Can't remember their name.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That's the Fatal Five, and they're kind of like the Sinister Six for the Legionnaires.
And some of the Fatal Five, I mean, Simon, he's not in there in that first version, is he? Guy with the bubble brain. Because didn't they end up being Teen Titan villains? I don't know.
Simon, that little kid, that little Electro kid.
I can't remember.
Okay, that one is Death of Pharaoh Lad. This is where they kill the black guy. This is where they're like, "Sir," and they're like reaching for their weapon. This is the ghost of Pharaoh Lad. This is when he's allowed to be a ghost and dead before they allow him to have any representation. We're a while before we get to like the team starting to get pretty diverse. They're like, in the future, there's 1 million species and 1 million planets, all white. All of them. whole planets of, hey, do you live here? Whole planets. I love this. Dr. Mantis Molo, the chemical conqueror, and his fantastic chemoids.
Oh, that
do you say that in that voice every time you pick up that comic book?
Every single time.
I feel like you have to.
I feel like you have to. Just a cool earth burning black day, but not a black person. Shitty. Here we go. That's just a fun one.
Yeah, I got that one. There
Yep.
she is.
Little crypto boy. First, Shadow Lass. That lady right there. She is Raven before Raven. That's so Raven. First appearance of Mordrew. This is one of their major villains. Honestly, you talk to a lot of old heads, people who like bought comics off the rack in the 70s and 80s. And here's the thing. Okay, I'm railing over here about the Legion of Superheroes this whole time, just rattling on, right? Back in the 70s and 80s, they were the #1 book selling on the shelves. They were this like hive of creativity because they didn't have to adhere to continuity. They had their own continuity. And they've been rebooted so many times because it's just the future. Just start telling the story over again. Future was altered, obviously, right? It makes sense. There's like a built-in mechanic to reboot the series. So they have a reboot. They have a boot, a reboot, a 3-boot, and then they have a reboot that goes back and alters who met Superboy first. And it was like 5 of them instead of the 3. And it's a pre-boot. So we got reboots, 3-boots, and pre-boots. The point being is these hands belong to effectively a wizard. Every purple robed wizard you've ever seen painted on a tilt-a-whirl. That wizard is named Mordrew, and he is like the conduit for magic in the DC universe in the future. Like all magic passes through him and he controls it. And so he's like kind of a really powerful menace. Shadow Lass is his kid. This is the first origin of the Legion of Superheroes. It took this long, all the way from we started at the 10-cent books back in 1958, and it took all the way till books were 25 cents for them to tell us how the team first formed. This is how comic books were written back then. I know this is a significant one. Back to Key Collector. First appearance of Chemical King. He's a kid that can control chemicals. He's just like,
that's a Neil Adams cover.
Is it?
I think so. I think it's a Neil Adams cover.
It's good. I mean, the Superboy looks Neil Adamsy.
Yeah, there's a couple he did right around that same period.
The first appearance of the Legion of Super Villains as kids.
Yeah.
So I showed those 2 homage covers earlier, right? The Legion of Supervillains one, Lex Luthor's in jail, and he says, I remember Superman muttering something about teenagers from the future who are superheroes. Stands to reason they should have supervillains. I'll send an SOS into the future, and they'll come and break me out of jail. And it works, and that's how they invent the Legion of Supervillains. But they're adults, they're grown-ass adults, and even the Legion that comes and like involves themselves in that story to stop them, it's also adult versions of the Legion. So it's kind of like a dual key. Whereas normally we see them as kids. This is the first appearance of them in their future timeline, where the Legion of Supervillains are teenagers like them. We've only ever seen them as adults before. Boy, what a long explanation. This is another introduction character dump of a bunch of Legionnaires, but none of them are really important except for like Quantum Queen. There's Celebrand, Dartang, Elvo, Immorto, Ornitha, Psyche, and Quantum Queen. And Quantum Queen's one of the only characters that we'll see like come back again.
I love that cover with Bouncing Boy being the king of the Legion and making everyone. Now, you know, he's making everyone rip off their emblems. So, of course, I zoomed in as close as I could on Saturn Girl because I'm a pervert. You can't see anything, no matter how hard you
she's
try.
crying the hardest too. She's got the most to lose. These guys are like, "Oh, my dignity," and she's like, "No, my whole breast."
Right.
She's
and I'm pretty sure that's another Neil Adams too.
I'm pretty sure that's Justin Timberlake over her shoulder at the Super Bowl.
So I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
At what point do you think the names of these characters will become normalized? Because like I'm sitting here unfamiliar with them, and like a lot of the names that you're telling me sound absolutely ridiculous. But if you think back on it, like popular names from Marvel sound ridiculous as well. They're only normalized because they've been around so much and they've been in the zeitgeist so much. Like, and even like in other aspects of culture, like we have several baseball teams named after colors of socks, and that shouldn't work, but they've been around here forever. So like, do you think that any number of those ridiculous names that you just said are ever like capable of being like household names or being seen as normal?
The only way that you could justify it is Superman. Superman's such a flagship character. He's so big that he will buoy characters attached to him. You know what I mean? Like nobody cares. Nobody actually cares about Livewire, which is interestingly enough, Livewire is Superman's Harley Quinn, not because of the character or her importance at all. It's because in Harley Quinn, her first appearance was in the cartoon comic Batman Adventure 12. In Superman, she was a comic book cartoon character written for the cartoon adaptation comic book. You know what I'm talking about? How they do the comic book after the TV show? She was that equivalent. She first appeared there and then later on appeared in main DC continuity. That character is one that nobody cares about, but because of that story and that she's attached to Superman, it's usually like a $50 book in high condition. So Superman buoys books attached to him. It's like okay, Hagen, like there has to be a character in the Captain America mythos that is trash and nobody cares about, but because he is a Captain America villain, like he gets pulled in the direction of like, oh, some people know who he is.
I mean, the first one that came to my mind is MODOK, like classic Captain America villain. But if he weren't attached to a character as important as that, nobody would care, and they have an absolute right to not care. I see Captain America as being like even at this point, like an A-tier character, like an A-level character, but he specifically has like C or D level villains. I'm seeing like 2 Batroc the Leapers, 1 Crossbones. Yeah, like
I mean, Leaper. I didn't know who Leaper was until the TV show.
Yep, Batroc the Leaper. He's a French gymnast, and that's something. Yeah, nobody cares about Captain America's Rogues Gallery. Even like arguably the coolest villain that he has is Red Skull, and he's just 30s Nazi propaganda, and like he does not get any cooler than that, I don't think. My favorite Captain America villain is the United States government. Like that to me is how he functions best. But yeah, as far as like his Rogues Gallery, it's pretty weak. Like it's nothing like when you think famous Rogues Galleries, you think like
AIM,
Batman or Spider-Man. Yeah, AIM. Who cares about AIM? The bunch of bumbling morons that they are. Like advanced idea mechanics. You've never had an idea in your life. They just get pulled around by
Is
they
AIM
did
the
coordinate.
Organization that did anybody read Next Wave? No, crickets. Okay. Next Wave was written by Warren Ellis, and he took like those sea-level villains, and I think it was AIM, and he made them, you know, the bad guys of his book, and it was ridiculous because they were like classic henchmen. They all wear the yellow helmets, right? For MODOK or whatever.
Yeah, they look like the Around the World music video, that Daft Punk.
Yes.
But
they
all showed up as yellow.
They
Right.
look like techno beekeepers. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're supposed to be something.
Yeah. Well, I think you both would dig Next Wave if you can find it.
I had that's the one with the first Hellboy in the Hellboy in color, right?
No,
That's Next Men.
Yeah. No, it's a
Next
Marvel.
Men.
It's a Marvel book with Monica Rambeau and the Captain and a bunch of just C-list. It was a wild ride, but AIM was the main villain, and it reminded me of like Venture Brothers or something. The way that they would just throw henchmen at everything.
It's terrible. I wish they were better. I wish the B villains. If you're going to be a B villain in a Marvel or DC comic, like a big 2 comic, I want you to be ridiculous. Everyone should be Condiment King. It should be the Joker and then a legion of condiments. All right, there's only 3 left. First appearance of Wildfire. He is an empty suit. He's actually all energy. And he's a guy in an empty suit. And he has like kind of Iron Man-y powers, but the thing with the Legion, they're constantly taking characters that are legacy and then redefining their powers a little bit so that they become infinitely powerful. And that seems to be the dance over the years. So like there'll be a guy in the 1960s and he's just like, oh, I'm reaches into his pockets and pulls out Spork's guy. And like, it's only anytime he reaches into his pockets, it's just endless plastic forks. And so then like, they'll be like, well, technically, if you think about it, like the chemical compound of that plastic, he could reach in and form like, a different shaped object and then create machines out of plastic by assembling them. And then he can think in 4D, all this nonsense. And so that's kind of how they operate. This is the first issue of a series called Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. It's 4 issues long, and they kind of reprint and also like cover new ground in Legion stories. It's strange. The Legion have like 5 different volumes because they have little offshoots like that. It's Adventure Comics featuring the Legion of Superheroes, then Superboy with Legion stories because they become B stories in the background of Superboy books with like Neil Adams covers. A lot of those backstories are like the B stories in all of those are Legion stories. And then it becomes Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. And then it just becomes the Legion of Superheroes. And then this here, we're going to end here. This is a 30-cent book. Why is that significant? Because that's the first appearance of their first Black team member. They went from 1958 all the way to 30-cent books to introduce a Black Legionnaire. Way to go, guys.
Congratulations, you did it. Racism is no more.
Yeah, it's only like 40 more years till Barack Obama, and then it's like officially over.
Everything's
They
fine.
wrapped it up. Nancy Pelosi takes a knee in a kente cloth, and everything's fixed.
Oh man, that is a serious run you put together, brother. I love it. That is like, it's my dream.
So that's kind of the thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. This run here, this collection, has made it so the only book I don't have that I can obsess over for the next couple of years, because I think that's important in a collecting hobby. I think it's important to have like a goal that you can attain but won't be able to for a while. Keeps your head in the game. I need More Fun Comics 101. It is a Golden Age book. It's the first appearance of Jor-El and Superboy. Superboy is kind of what Hagen says on his channel about Captain America, how Silver Age Captain America really is a different character. It's not the same thing. You can say it is, but then obviously, there is the first appearance, but it's not the same thing. Superboy and Superman they're different animals. And so if I get that More Fun Comics 101 one day, it's like $4,000 right now. So if I buy it in like 3 years, I'll be able to get it for like maybe $5,000. I'll be kind of done. And in the meantime, after all those keys I just showed you, including the big one, I'm building to it. I'm putting my comics back in order because I'm sick of ending my streams and having everything in tatters. So aside from that big book, and everything I have here, everything I just showed you, there are a few dollar books left. And I'm not a few, I mean, there's hundreds of them, but they're all like books that you can find in dollar bins and $2 bins and $3 bins. These are the keys. So like, I kind of feel done. And so what it did for me is it broke up. It kind of made me break up with all the other runs that I realized all of a sudden, like, oh, I don't really give a shit about owning this anymore. And so now I'm kind of like thinking about selling some books because I've hit critical capacity in my closet. I'm out of space. I've been bitching about that for a while. And then like I'm thinking about parting with some runs that I made. One example is I have the entire Ostrander Suicide Squad one in really high grade. I got it for like $50. Guy was just trying to make a name for himself on Whatnot and put himself out of business. Far be it for me to hold a shovel when you want to die. But I bought the collection off him, and it's taking up a short box in that room in my closet. So like, I don't know, like, so I want to go around the horn. I've been talking a lot. Sorry guys, I'm excited about the Legion. So I want to go around the horn and just be like, is there anything that you could get that would kind of redefine how you collect everything else? Nate.
You know, I don't know. Like, I hear what you're saying. I have found ways to go vertical and find more room. The book that you are nuzzling and caressing right now is definitely one of my highest grail books. Yeah, you're. It's like The Crow.
That's a book I want to sell. That's a book I want to sell. I think if a book doesn't, if I'm looking at a run or something and it doesn't give me joy and I think I'm not going to go back and read it again, I don't have trouble getting rid of it. But I was looking at some stuff just today because I am throwing. My dad has a booth in a flea market, and I'm getting rid of some dollar books that I've picked up that I don't care about. But I came across some stuff that I haven't read in forever. One of them is a weird Vertigo book called Army at War that was in the early 2000s, and there were like 2 runs of that, and I have most of them, and I kind of had them. I was going back and forth between the boxes, like, am I going to keep it here or am I going to go take this to the flea market? I ended up keeping it because it's something that I think I might read again. It's like that value of I can make a few bucks off of it versus I actually think I might like to read this again. But then there's other things that I have thrown that like would break people's hearts because I am a DC guy and I took a whole bunch of Spider-Man, 80s and 90s Spider-Man that I used to collect and I used to love. And because I'm more into, because I guess to your point, Ricky, I'm making room for this stuff. Somebody just said that this was their favorite Legion cover. So, I'm making more room for my adventure stuff and for this Silver Age. And so I don't have a problem getting rid of some things that I don't think I'll ever read again. But if there's something that I've still got that nostalgia, hook that still has its nostalgia hooks in me, I'm going to keep it. And see, I see what Richard's saying. He has said that before. I don't think I could do it. I either got to get rid of all of it or keep all of it. I don't think I can keep a book. To Big B McFly, we did a trading thing. I want to do it. Big B, if you're watching this or you do watch this, thanks. But I also want to I want to do another one. I want to do another trade. But Big B, he got me a lot of my Superboy, got me a lot of Legion, in high grade too. But I traded him my Harley Quinn stuff, and he got all of it out of me because I'm like, once I knew the Harley Quinn was going, I'm like, okay, you can get Mad Love, you can get all these variant covers I have. Just get Harley Quinn out of my life. So I totally understand that. Hagen, is there anything you could get? Hagen and Hayden. Fuck you guys.
This will be fun.
We've had the conversation before.
Hagen, is there anything you could get to, that you would add to your collection that like is a book that's on your radar, or maybe it's like a dream book, and if it fell into your lap, all of a sudden it's changing things? Like if Spider-Man, if Amazing Fantasy 15 fell into your lap, like would that then alter how you collect to be like, okay, I want to start going after the Spider-Man keys. I got the big one out of the way.
Well, not really, because specifically with Amazing Fantasy 15, if I ever got that book, like I would take a picture with it, make a video about it, and then immediately find somebody to sell it to, because the money that would get me, it would be worth more than me owning that comic book. Like, it's great, I got it, cool. I need to see it gone. It's giving me too much anxiety. It's funny that you asked that question. I swear I'm not just finding excuses to show this book off, but I did recently pick up a book that I think has probably changed the way that I'm going to collect. And if you don't mind, I'm going to bring it up right now.
Let's make you big.
And it is this. This is, you know what this is. Everybody knows what this is. I didn't think that I would own this book, and I'm just super happy to be in a place where I can. And this is like it's like the pressure valve is released. Like, this is the biggest Captain America book that I could realistically get, you know. I'm not in the market for Golden Age stuff. Nobody in my tax bracket or the next three are in the market for a Captain America #1. So this is it for me. And so picking this up, like, yeah, it's sort of changed the way that I think about comic book collecting. So I don't have to think like, do I want to spend $100 on this low grade Swamp Thing 1, or do I want to put that $100 in my savings account and get this book later? So I don't have this like sort of hanging over my head. So yeah, I mean, I guess in a way, I'm looking to branch out more. Obviously, I'm still wanting to fill in my run and patch holes there, but I am looking forward to being able to sort of branch out and see what else is out there.
Hayden, do you have a book that would, like, because you're going after Spider-Man, so like, are there Spider-Man books that you're going for that'll alter things first, like a villain you're going to go for first that'll like alter how you collect?
Well, I kind of issue I've been. The problem is I love it all. That's kind of been, yeah. It's been fun. It's been Batman recently, as you know.
Oh man, your signal in that basement.
Yeah, it's bad. Oh,
you're like a dial-up modem.
Not even to mention the oddball stuff I'm getting. Oh, so there's always going to be another book. That's how I feel. Like, I don't think I could ever run out of something to go for. Because, I mean, right now my life's going to be changing up a little bit, and I'll just go back to getting the small minor keys. Because, I mean, the chase is always fun, but when there's a million things to chase out there, I mean, I really don't see myself changing anything, really. There's always the next book, at least where I am currently.
That's depressing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, I have, like, minor goals, like, for, completing the run of Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, that's a lifelong goal. I mean, same thing with, like, Batman and some of these other runs. But I like to think there's, like, little checkpoints you can do along the way. Like, I'm going after the Rogues Gallery, and I think the first half of the year, I'm pretty content where I am just in general this year. I mean, I have a lot of I just don't have the main, like big Silver Age. I have little ones and some of the lesser B tier guys. So it's one of those things where you gotta find a way to be happy and content with what you got.
So that's actually something I wanted to talk about. And then this is, I'll make my statement. We'll go around the horn one more time to get reactions, and then we'll call it a night. I want to keep these. I don't want to keep you guys prisoners. I've been thinking a lot lately about like old fashioned black and white gratitude, and just I don't see a lot. I know that we all feel gratitude. Richard needs your Avengers 4. So he'll set up your address after the show.
Yeah, you can pry it from my cold dead hands, Richard. Love you, but Nah.
I do see a lot of videos about like look at the book I got. Look at this book. Look at this new book. Look at this haul. Look at this con I'm going to. There's always the next thing. And I'm not picking on him. I really like his content, but I do have to use him as an example. DJ Links. DJ Links recently went to a convention and you should watch it. He does just a brief silent walkthrough where he goes and he picks up his amazing, his amazing Fantasy 15. It's a crazy book. I couldn't help but notice when he gets home and he's going over, like he's leading up to him revealing that he has the book. He's showing other books that he got at the con. I met this creator. He signed it for me. There were only 10 of these. There's only one of these in existence, and he gave it to me because he did this remark and then he retired it. Like he's showing off all these different things that are important to him and are tied to cool memories. And then he ends with a Spider-Man book. And I'm like, it's kind of like a person who has like 11 kids. You'll never convince me that you love all of them equally. Like there's no way. I think there's a hard limit programmed into humans where you can love like 4 children, but that 5th kid, you're just acquaintances. And so I was thinking about that. Like, there's no way that you love any of those books as much as you love that Spider-Man. And he might even say like, I love them differently. like a parent would say, as in less. So I don't know. Like I'm thinking a lot about gratitude lately because like I said, I got this book. I'm going to show it again. I love it. This completes a little trilogy of books that I have. It's over on that shelf and I'm looking at it every day. If you're on my Instagram at Ricky Cadabra, I have this book, my Action 252 Supergirl and my Adventure 210 Crypto. And this is the heart of the Legion. Supergirl's a huge part of the Legion. The first appearance of Brainiac 5, they immediately hook him up and say like, okay, this is going to be a romantic thing. They're on again, off again. But to have those 3 books, like there is a feeling of completion, and I can go hunt down the Legion books and they're $1 a piece, and I can read the Legion books every night, and it's really fun to read them in order. That's fun too. It's kind of changed the way I think about collecting in that, like, do I really need like, oh, this 1 in 50 variant cover of, Wolverine or whatever. I don't know. It's paled a lot of things for me. And so that's, I've been thinking about gratitude a lot lately, and I have a lot of gratitude towards what I have. And I feel that lately very acutely, how happy I am that like, I never thought I'd be at like a financial position in my life where I'd have these 3 books, and I have them now, and I have almost the whole run of the Legion. It's wild. So, let's just go around the horn, say what's going on with your channel, tell people to subscribe because I want you to subscribe, and then make your point. Like, what is your book that you have right now that you're like really happy to have in your collection? It means a lot to you, and you still get those warm and fuzzies whenever you look at it. Hayden, you came in last. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. Well, I would say new videos every Monday, but I'm about to be on a hiatus for a month here coming up. But besides that, well, that's why I kind of try to rotate out. I have 2 shelves up here. I'll try to tilt up where I have kind of some of the graded books, and I have a bunch of mini shelves on the other side of the room that I like to rotate out. But it always comes back to this Amazing Spider-Man 129 for me. I mean, obviously, the Punisher in terms of my top 5, he's in the top 5. But kind of like how you said, I never thought I could even own a book like this. Like that, of that caliber. More or less, if I would have talked to myself like a few years ago and be like, hey, you're going to spend more on a comic book than you would your car payment, your entire like car note, I'd be like, well, you're insane. Why the hell would you do that for paper encased in plastic? But it's just one of those things where it's not only is it such a good book, it's just kind of like a keystone moment, I guess, in my collecting journey that I like to think about. And that's how I kind of see a lot of my books is I can look back. That's kind of like the whole point of my channel is really for me to go look back and see where I was at that point in time. So that's kind of how I look at all my books. But that one in particular is the one that still gives me those warm and fuzzies. And I like to go back and on my Instagram and go look at the day I got it.
That's really cute. Hagen, you already know what you're going to say.
No. So that... if you watch the video that I made about my Heroes Con journey, that is not the book that I walked away most satisfied with. Like, that was probably like the biggest adrenaline dump, obviously, but the one that I was happiest to get was this. This is Daredevil number 37. It's a fight between Daredevil and Doctor Doom. But the reason why I was so excited about it is because that was a book that was in my childhood long box, short box. I did not have a long box. That was one of the first like 20 or 30 comic books that I ever owned. And like an idiot, I traded it away because it was one of the biggest books that I had when I was like first really getting into collecting a couple years ago. And it always really busted me up that I didn't have that book anymore because it was one of like my prized books. And so I felt better about getting that book. I felt childhood me was more happy about getting that book than I was about getting Avengers 4 because I didn't think Avengers 4 was going to be a possibility for me. That was just really great. And I've been working hard and I've been saving, and that opportunity presented itself. So I jumped on it. But to be able to, right a wrong that I made, that felt really good. If I could talk about a different book, I think that maybe potentially one of the more meaningful books to me is going to be one that Hall Yeah Comics has already seen. Because I wanted to go to Terrificon, but it just wasn't going to be possible with like the short time limit and the fact that resort is like going up, 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 up. So that's going to have to be like a next year thing for me. I cared less about going to the con than I did about meeting a lot of these people that have been really supportive of me in like this new thing that I'm doing, and who have been talking to me and helping me out and just being like friends. And so I was kind of upset about realizing that I wouldn't be able to go, but I did talk to Brandon from Mon Comics, and he agreed to take a book up there for me that I could have a bunch of you people sign. So anybody who is watching this right now, if you are going to Terrificon and you see Brandon, I want you to sign this book. I'm talking to you, person who's ignoring your wife, asking you to come make dinner, please. Like, I'm talking to you. I want you to sign this book. And it's generic comic book number 1. I was trying to figure out a book that I could have everybody sign that wouldn't be like it's not a Spider-Man, it's not a Captain America, it's something that, yeah, Richard, absolutely you. I said I was talking to you. Go make dinner for your wife now, okay? But yeah, I was trying to find a good middle of the road book, and it doesn't get more middle of the road than this. I am going to get another copy because there's a stain on here that would bother me. But yeah, for sure, I would. If I were to get that signed by as many people as I would want it to, that would just be like a symbol of like the friendships that I've made doing this, and that would be really important to me. I know it's like a $4 book or whatever the hell, but it would be it's the feeling behind it that I care more about. So like, yeah, talking to your point about being grateful, like I understand that being in this position of being able to get big books or just books regularly, that it's not something that everybody can do. And so like if this collecting journey of mine were to be cut off right now, I would be upset, but I've had a better opportunity than most people could hope for, and so that would be the thing that would like bring me peace.
That's nice. That's not what a nice sentiment. Nate, you're up.
I still chase my runs and I chase my smalls, and I just can't see myself getting tired of that. I can see myself completing something and saying I'm done with this and passing that along and then finding something else. Because there's always going to be something I discover. But when it comes to like books that I think would change the way I collect, I think the first appearance of the Legion for sure. Another one I've started hunting a little bit is Lois Lane #1. Lois on her broom. That cover is just like, and that that series it is like so endearing to me right now. So, and it's another one that it's pricey. It's hard to get. And if I got it, I think it would make me want to complete the run. And it would probably make me want to focus more on that than maybe some of the other smaller things.
There's a chewed up copy on eBay right now for $350.
Oh, I've seen it. There were 2 chewed up copies, and it was like, it just wasn't there for me. I don't know. I get all this joy from, exactly back to what you started with, Ricky. The adventure comics are cheap. Superboy comics are cheap. 12-cent action comics, they're cheap. There are a few that, people know are pricey, but for the most part, I've been able to find these books at ridiculously low prices and just enjoy the hell out of them. And for me, it doesn't have to be a key. Like, I buy things and then find out they're a key, and it cracks me up. I got this Jimmy Olsen here. I think the cover's good, but this Jimmy Olsen just looks like a 10-cent Jimmy Olsen, but it's the first appearance of him as Elastic Lad, is what I found out. Like, I was happy to get it, and then to find out it's his, the first time Jimmy stretches. And yeah, I'm extremely grateful for the position that I find myself in, that, in the last couple of years, especially, I have really piled on the purchases. Like, whenever we go out and run errands, I can always find a bookstore where I can go dig through a box, and I come home with a stack, and then those go in a box, and I gotta, figure out what I'm doing with them. And I certainly haven't always been in that position. So I am grateful that I can do that. And that when I'm running out of room. So I went and, I just went and bought some shelves to put some more short boxes on. Again, not everybody has the room. Not everybody has the budget. And I get that. Somebody in the chat had said that they feel like they're, they have their own museum. And I kind of get that sense too. Like, I feel like I'm an archivist in certain ways. There are certain books that they're not going to put in a trade or an omnibus. And the only way that I'm going to have that book is to have the run. So the hunt is good, but also I feel like when I've done it, I've accomplished something for these artists and writers who put their heart into it, or, they at least tried, they got their paycheck out of it. And I'm still enjoying it. I don't know. I get a certain joy out of that too, that somebody's work is being appreciated after the fact. Oh, Richard, a shepherd of comics. That is.
That's a very fancy way to say nerdy hoarder.
We're all going to die under piles of our comic books. Everybody, thank you so much. Everybody here is quality content, quality people. We're all nerds, and we all just want to talk about comic books. And I think each and every one of us started this nonsense because we wanted to meet other people like us. And it is cool to meet other people like that. So it's a neat community. It's really fun. You hear all the time that we have the best community, and they're not wrong. They're not lying to you. So subscribe to Lettuce Comics, subscribe to Holly Yaz, subscribe to Hayden, subscribe to me if you haven't, if you just pop by. But I sincerely appreciate you. Be grateful for your comic books. Love your family, eat your vitamins.